What is going on, guys? It's been a long time. I took almost like 2 months off and left the market to you guys. And when I came back, what the heck did you guys do, man? I think the last time I was here, Palantir was at like 11 or 12 bucks, and now it's at like 8 now. But it was at 7, sub 7 before. That's crazy, man. But I'll give you a quick synopsis as to why I took a break. It does have something to do with this whole like market situation, all this stuff, and it's some planning stuff. I'll tell you now, and then I'll go into Palantir Tesla and just give you a general update. Moving forward, I think I'm gonna do this really just once a week. I don't think I can like sustain like video making just because honestly, my career is very lucrative and it's hard for me to spend time outside of that. And if I do, it's gonna go towards my kids. I'm sorry, not you guys, but I still love you, so I'm gonna try to do it as much as I possibly can. Okay, but long story short. The reason I was off, by the way, just to give you a quick recap, is pretty much. So if you guys don't know, if you're new here, I'm a consultant, IT consultant, and times like this is actually very tough for consultants because we're, along with salespeople, one of the first people to get fired, and my entire team actually got let go. So this is like 3-4 weeks ago, and this entire time I've been like battling like Google engineers. So it's pretty much just me, and like somehow I survived. So not that like they're not good or I'm not good or something like that. A lot of us are fairly evenly skilled. It's just that they're Google, so they have the name going for them, and some of them are very good. Like Google engineers are very, very, very good. So kudos to them. But I was able to compete with them, so I kept my job, and that's really my number one prerogative. I need to make sure that my bills are being paid. We work on contracts, guys. It's all short term. So during downturns, if I don't have a job, then something's got to give, right? And I don't want to sell my stock. So there you go. That's one of the reasons. Second thing is I want to do a little more digging, talk to my vendors, and actually find out what kind of job situations we're looking at, and we'll discuss that here. Maybe we'll start with that a little bit. So if you want to talk about the stock and Palantir stock market stuff, skip this little part here. But the thing is, I sent a tweet out a few days ago saying, if you guys are having a full-time job, make sure you establish connections with your manager. Make sure you know what's happening, and you let them know that you're here, right? Because especially at a time when everyone's working from home and all this stuff, it's very important that you establish these human relationships so that people don't think of you and say, oh, I don't know what he's doing, and then you get put on the chopping block. Keep your job. Times like this, there are crazy market volatility. One of the places I work for is actually one of the bigger brokerages in the US. So they're buckling down like pretty crazy. They're boarding up all their windows and preparing for something pretty big. Something bigger than I think what they thought of COVID. So I don't know if it's going to come true. I really don't know. But from what I could tell in the market, it seems like the first thing to go are going to be jobs. So please, guys, please, 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 if you take anything from this video, I just want you to make sure you have good working human relationships with your managers. Make sure that they are able to track your work and all this stuff. I know it sucks, but times like this, you need to be able to provide food for your family. And it's always the people that eat shit during moments like this. Forgive my language, but it's always the people that take a big ass kicking. So make sure funding secured, okay? Make sure you have your money done right, and don't get fired, don't get laid off, okay? Put yourself in that position as best as possible. Okay, so let's get into the Palantir situation. Now, god damn it, guys. Okay, here's the thing, right? This is why I don't talk stock price. The only video I made that talks stock price, it was so that I could tell you that Palantir is not going to hit $1 trillion valuation. I feel like I'm a bear out here, man. Like, I don't even know what's happening, but yeah, so I don't think it's going to hit $1 trillion. That's the only time I talk about stock price, but let's really talk about this here. Palantir is basically down like, I think 60% from its recent highs. And realistically speaking, it's down a lot more than that, right? Like it was at 35 a little over a year ago, and now it's at like $8. So that's really that's a lot. Okay. Now the real thing is, you guys have to understand, and I'm gonna keep saying this over and over and over again. I'm one of the most consistent people on this topic. Palantir has a very mature product. Companies that have a very mature product really only need one thing to reach that sort of velocity of market valuation, and for all of that to catch up to them, which is a sales cycle. Now they're hiring sales people, and they're like reaching out to certain people and things like that. But I happen to know that they probably weren't able to hire all the best ones, right? If you're watching, yeah, you know who you are, man. But anyway, yeah, so they probably weren't able to hire some of the best ones, and that's okay. It's just a matter of why weren't they able to do that. So I think part of the reason why the stock price crashed down is mainly because There are some internal problems that they're trying to work through, and I'm not talking about like, you know, it's not like Alex Karp is pulling out a sword and trying to attack people. I'm saying quite literally, it's just the fact that there could be some sort of like internal structure that they're still working to resolve. Okay, let's put it this way, guys. Palantir is not, for example, where Tesla is now. They're not where Amazon is now. They're at a phase where they're not trying to scale really. They're trying to sort of establish their foundation so that they can build something on top of it. Now, whenever you look at Palantir, you're looking at the product, and that's already quite mature. Like, it's going to grow at its whatever normal pace. But what you have to look for is the lines of businesses that they're trying to develop. So the different sales channels, what companies they're trying to, like, you know, onboard, what companies have they onboarded, what sectors are they, things like that. That's how you got to follow these companies. You can't just gloat and be like, oh my God, look at this software, it's amazing. Yes, I get it. It's amazing. Lots of companies make amazing software. Palantir is one of the best ones, I think, in my opinion. But so what? Like, what are they going to do with it? Right? And this takes me to the next problem, which I think is really, really like a bigger problem. And some of you guys are not seeing this. There's a problem in the tech industry where, see, let me put it this way. Developers like me, people like developers in general, right? Devs and technical folk, they don't like marketers. They don't like salespeople because developers like to talk about the complexity of the things they do because it is quite complex. But the salespeople, the marketing folks, they need to simplify things. They need to simplify things so they can put it in a package and sell it, right? We don't like that. The holy trinity of any good tech company is basically developers, sales, and marketing people, right? But think of it like this, okay? A good tech company is kind of like camping, all right? Let me hit you with an analogy. It'll make sense to you right away. Now, the technical folk will actually look at the tent when it's finally made and be like, wow, look at that. It has a door here, has a window here. Look at the structure of the whole tent. Look at how the thing stands up. It's amazing. The marketing and the salespeople will most likely be like, wow, I can't believe that thing fit in that small of a package. That's amazing, right? They'll look at different angles, even though it's the same thing, they'll look at different angles of it and admire that. And that's where some of the discrepancies and stuff and disagreements come from, right? So what ends up happening sometimes is some of the tech companies, they basically have sales teams that are guided by developers because it's such a strong dev culture, right? So like developers or technical staff, they'll say, oh, don't sell it like this. Make sure you mention all these little, like, you know, stupid points that are in the code. That'll definitely sell it to them, right? No, that's for when engineers are trying to sell to engineers. Okay, but engineers aren't the ones that have the budget to buy. It's usually directors and business staff and business operations people, business development. These guys don't understand what code is and all this other stuff, and they don't care. They don't want to either, okay? So you need to let the salespeople do what they need to do. So you can't have a sales team that's run by technical staff. That's a recipe for disaster. And if that continues to be the case, I don't know if it's the case. I'm just saying, if we find out that that's the case, I will have to sell my shares. I'm sorry, right? So like, because they're not going to go anywhere. I'm sorry. Like, you have to let the salespeople do them. So you got to look for beads of these kind of indicators. That's the thing with Palantir. You really have to look because they are at this phase where they're trying to fluff up their their message out to people. Their earnings are great. Like, I mean, their quarters, they're reporting are pretty good. It's not the best, but given the stage that they're at right now, I think it's fairly fine, right? Especially now with the market recession, all this. Okay, now moving on to Tesla. Tesla is, I don't know what's happening with Tesla. I think Tesla, there's a lot of people that have a little bit of FOMO. Back when it was around close to like 650, 700, I think a lot of folks that were jumping on were expecting it to sort of like snowball a little bit, and it kind of did, right? It went to 1200 and all that. And I think right now all the trimming that's happening is either, I think it's just people selling, guys. I think people are just getting scared and they're selling. With something like Tesla too, I'd like to point out that they're literally have already opened Giga Texas and Giga Berlin, Giga Austin, I guess I should say. Guys, like, what the hell? Tesla is a cash flow generating behemoth, okay? Like, nobody in their sane mind is looking at the fundamentals of this company and looking at like the reports and the quarterly reports especially, and saying, oh, this is definitely not going to continue scaling. Are you crazy? Look at their EPS. It's like there's so many things in that you can nitpick and cherry pick and say just this one thing is like gonna scale this thing to Mars, okay? On top of the fact that they're coming out with these 2 new factories and they're actually pumping out vehicles. Sure, Shanghai's causing a problem, you know, whatever, the CCP is being the CCP, and I knew this was going to happen, especially when Elon went to China, right? I knew that as soon as he went there, they might have him by the balls eventually, and it's just a matter of time. But it is what it is, I guess. They'll deal with it accordingly. But really the problem I'm saying is, even if Shanghai's down, guys, there's like 2 new factories plus Fremont is still running. They're gonna be fine. They're gonna absolutely crush it this year. Like, I hope Tesla goes down further. That's my #1 position. I'm gonna load up. I'm gonna basically back up the Brinks truck for this stock. Okay, they're at a stage where they're absolutely unstoppable, and they're really like, so from the S-curve adoption thing, they're like right here, right before the final like ascent to Mars. Okay, so I think we're good to go. From here, it's a minimum 6x. Not financial advice. Do not buy. I'm just saying. For me, I think it's a minimum 6x. Plus, if you take a look at things like autonomy and stuff, there's videos, guys, online, like Tesla AI driver, and there's a few other people online, right? Like the car is still like already driving itself. Not in every scenario, it doesn't work perfectly, I'm sure, but I mean, when have we, think about it, literally go back 10 years ago, forget 10, go back 5 years ago. We couldn't even think of stuff like this even being in the close proximate future. I don't know. This company is going to do great things. They're already doing great things. Once people start realizing this stuff, it's going to be too late for you to buy the stock. It's going to be too late for me to continue buying the stock. I know, this is why I'm going so hard into it. I know that I'm running out of time. There's a certain amount of time that I have to buy this stock, and I'm running, I think I'm about 6 months out until I'm completely priced out and I just can't afford it anymore. I'll have to look for something else, or I'll have to save and buy or something like that, which is boring, but you know, it is what it is. If a company like Tesla with their Q1 that they reported is gonna be this low of a price in the stock market, then there really isn't an excuse for anything else. I mean, even Amazon is down, like everything is down, right? So I think there's a lot of macro pressures that are pushing down. The Fed definitely increased the rate, which I think was expected, so it couldn't have been this bad. But reality of the situation, guys, I think the reason why everything's going crazy, to be honest with you, is because of supply chain combined with the level of inflation. They're sort of like, they work in tandem, to be honest with you. I used to work in supply chain, and I'm telling you, a lot of things that happen in the supply chain are actually delayed. There's a whole bunch of software and people that sit there and try to mitigate and project and try to predict the stuff that would happen if XYZ event happens up the chain or something like that. Okay, this is a whole industry. So this is not a surprise to me. I told you guys from November, like since then, I was like, this is why Palantir is #2. This is why I'm not buying. I bought, I don't know, a little bit of a small position when it was around like 13-14 bucks, but a very small position. Like it was honestly insignificant, just to quell my fears and my FOMO a little bit, okay? But I haven't bought a single damn share since like November, right? Or except that one time I was talking about just now. So like me, somebody who's this bullish, why wouldn't I buy, right? Why wouldn't I buy? It's because of these kind of events that we're talking about and we're looking at right here. Inflation has gone through the roof, guys, okay? When you go, like, I mean, I have kids. Baby formula has gone up literally 10 bucks a box, right? That's what, more than like 15%, right? So it's crazy. Like if you don't see this coming, and remember, like the market may be a leading or whatever trailing indicator, who cares what people say, but at the end of the day, the stuff that people go through take time to actually take into effect. Like only now people's savings are going to get smashed from all the price increases and things like that, right? Once people realize this, now they'll start cutting back. Look at real estate. It's already starting to go down a little bit, right? These are signs. These are all indicators that, in my opinion, again, not financial advice. Don't listen to me and do any buying or anything like that, okay? I'm just saying, I'm doing this. This is for me. These are signs that we're going through some kind of like tumultuous times. And for me, I'm holding cash. I don't care. Sure, it's being inflated, but the stocks are dropping like crazy. You know, like I'd rather hold cash right now so I can buy later. And I would buy in bulk, and I would continue my same strategy. I'm going to go Tesla first and then Palantir. Now, the reason I do that, by the way, is there's that whole S-curve adoption thing, right? And I'm okay with buying here to get this arbitrage and then cap. All right. Most people want to get here and then they want to ride this wave. But can you though? The only reason I don't buy it from here is because I don't think I have the mental fortitude to actually buy it here. And I'm just being honest with you. Do you? I don't know. Seems like you don't, because the whole stock market, I'm pretty sure, is mostly just retail trying to sell. Just my opinion. I don't know, but just my opinion. So I'm trying to buy here just before the up of the S-curve, and then I hold and I'll cap it off and maybe take some loans off of that or something later. That's my strategy. It's okay. It's a little bit conservative, but you got to do you. These are the times when your strategy works. Everyone makes money in a bull run. Everyone makes money. Like 2 years ago, everybody looked like rich, right? People buying Lambos and all this. But now's the time you got to keep your job, keep your money, and buy the stocks that give you the most conviction. So let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. I think inflation is absolutely going to kill us. The Fed is absolutely hamstringed. I don't think they're able to really do too much to actually thwart this, because they pretty much fired all their shots during COVID. I think this is the time where we're going to have to buckle down. Lots of companies are going to go under. Do not lose your jobs. I'm seriously telling you, just establish your connections and relationships. Do not lose your jobs. Continue putting food on the table of your family, okay? Bring home the bacon, man. This is the time you got to really buckle down, because if you do, if you're able to keep your job and you're able to save some money, you can put it in the stock market. Times like this is when you really make the big gains. This is when you can get rich. So don't mess up. Keep your jobs. Stay employed. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm sorry for being so late to this kind of stuff, and I hate coming back to this with this kind of video, but I'll try to be on here more often, guys. Until then, peace.